Internet friends, my name is Catherine and I'm the human behind Creation Musculature. And today we are going to have some fun and try to create a yarn that is specifically made for pooling, because sometimes this is the effect that you're going for. Especially when you're doing some like socks and stuff like that, you might want to have a small section of your sock that will have a concentration of your color. And in this case, of course, it's going to be a rainbow because I love rainbow. So you will be able to see in this video that I had some issues, but I troubleshoot them with you in the video so you can have a few tools to avoid the mistakes that I made, because you know we're all human here. So without further ado, let's get into this. So today we're going to try to experiment and try to achieve a pre-planned pulled type of yarn. So I don't know if I expressed this properly, but sometimes when you're working with variated yarn, you will have pulling happening. But this time I want to make one color that will 100% be on purpose. We're doing this. This is pre-planned. You're going to have some small pooling effect. So we're going to be using those three colors. So it's fluorescent fuchsia, fluorescent lemon, and true turquoise. The reason I'm not using frozen, which is the fluorescent blue for Dharma Trading Co., is because it bleeds a lot and I don't want that color to bleed a lot, because on top of doing that we're also going to be speckling those colors on the white portion of the yarn, because I have a very specific idea in mind and I want to see if I can achieve it. So those are the three colors. I know that fluorescent fuchsia is going to be bleeding a little bit for sure, and that this one will most likely be bleeding as well, but it's okay. Those I can deal with. The blue always bleeds more than the other ones, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's a blue, maybe it's a combination of the fact that it's a blue and a fluorescent. Who knows? But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do our stock solution. So I'm going to do 100 milliliter and 1 gram of each. We're going to be dyeing 2 skein of yarn. So technically it would be a 0.5%, like 0.5% depth of shade for both of them. But first thing first, we're going to grab our respirator. It does not have to be this specific one. Just make sure that you have something that will catch fine particles that you will not be breathing, because we only have one pair of lungs and we need to protect them. Okay, let's put our respirator on. Make sure that your scale is at 0. Oh, I need to buy more. I think I already have more. A recommendation I will have for you guys is, if you're working, keep a post-it with your with a list of dyes that you need to purchase, so that way it's easier when it's time to place an order for your dye supplier. Okay, so we are good with this one. Now we make sure to zero out once again our scale. I don't use yellow that often. That's interesting. Okay, now we just need our true turquoise, zeroing out it once again our scale. There we go. And now that this is done, we can take this out, and we're going to be adding our water over here. And there. And here. Okay, and one thing to know is that I soon As the dye is no longer in dried form, we can remove our respirator because it's only in the dry form that it is dangerous for your lungs to breathe this in. And now we are going to mix our things. The yellow has a tendency to like clumps, to do little clumps, so it's important to make sure to mix that one pretty well because you will end up with lumps of pigments and concentrations of yellow in some points. If it's what you want, that's fine. If you don't want that result, that's also fine. Now, like this. There we go. So this is going to be fun. Now I will see you in the dye pan. Okay, so we're going. I already put my citric acid in the bucket, in the pan, because I want to ensure that the water is saturated with citric acid because I want the colors to strike as soon as possible to create this pre-planned pooling effect. But also, since we are going to be speckling the rest of the yarn, I want to ensure that we will have already the citric acid, so it will start to strike right away. And I'm going to turn on the heat right now to get this warmed up a little bit. And I only have 2 skeins of yarn. They are both 100 gram and they're 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon. And I think I'm gonna go with my blue at the top here. All right. So this might go real bad because it is not easy to do, or it might go super well. And we're only going to do one side. Oh fudge. For the rainbow section, this portion will be speckled. And you can see I already destroyed those colors. So I think 2 things that I'm already seeing: the colors are too concentrated. I think if I am to redo this experiment, I would probably start with dried powder rather than a liquid form. That might be something to think of. But anyways, we're going to let this cook. We could already do some of the speckling here, but this one I would definitely do the 30 minutes fully before flipping to do the speckling on the other side. So I'm just going to real quick do a tiny bit of speckling on that section. Like that. And I don't want to use a whole lot of pigments because those colors spread a lot. Like a lot. And I just want a tiny bit of speckling for those colors. I don't hate it, but this is not what I wanted to do. Okay, and just make sure when you're speckling that you never remove your fingers from each other, because that's when disaster happens. Okay, and you can already see how much the colors are spreading, so that's normal. So I'm going to put the 30 minutes on this one. Well, 32 apparently, but it's fine. So that way we can get a head start on that one. So that's unfortunate. That's life. I will think about it a little bit better. I will rethink it, and I think I'm going to try to make the difference. Yeah, because this is way too pigmented. I thought that But I guess that since it's going on the small section of the yarn, that's why it is too pigmented. Okay, I'll have to redo this. I will see you in 30 minutes. Or maybe, I don't know. I will see you in 30 minutes, that's for sure. Okay, so I decided that I like ish this side. However, I really have a vision in my brain and I just want to try to achieve it. I've put too much yellow on this, so I think I will maybe omit yellow for the speckling part. I'm not 100% sure yet. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do this, and we're going to try to roughly do. I'm going to turn on the heat right now. We need the heat right away. And I have a yarn mop on the side for my fingers. And I will not put that much dry powder as well, because I want to ensure that I have more control and that it is not as intense as this one. See, I already have so much more control over the pigment. I might end up with, I think I'm going to add a tiny bit more pigment. Let me just remove excess water from my gloves. Not water. Yeah, water, whatever. I'm going to add a tiny bit more. And here you can see that we have some speckling happening. So I'm just going to add a tiny bit more here. Okay, and then we are, okay, so that's going to be better. So it's going to be a little bit more a vibe-wise thing rather than anything else. So I think I went way too intense with the pigment on that other one, which it's just life. It happens to the best of us. What can I say? Okay, so that's going to be better in my personal opinion. It's going to be a little bit more in the spirit of what I wanted to do. Now we are going to be adding the yellow here and a tiny bit, the littlest of yellow down there, so that we don't have too much of it. Okay, now you can see that we have the green forming and we still have a nice yellow happening, which makes me happy. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so I'll just remove excess from my glove onto my yarn mop now. Remove excess water. And where we go? Drop my jar. That's fine. Okay. This needs to be lowered a little bit. Okay, now we can do the pink here. And that's what I mean by we have so much more control over the pigment that we're adding like that. Oh yes, I'm much happier with this version. Okay, now I just need to do this. Okay, there we go. And when we're going to be flipping to add more of the speckle on the other side, we will not be doing the rainbow because we want to do the planned pulling. So now I can remove my respirator. Okay, here we go. Whew. Okay, so I'm already a little bit happier with this pigment concentration and the speckling on this side. I'm not, I don't hate this side, but that's fine. So we already have the citric acid here. And I put 8 cups of tap water in there with my pre-soaked yarn. Here we had 4 cups of tap water with the citric acid. And The reason I switched from a large pan to the small pan is because this one will have so much more natural resistance. It is tighter together, so we will have less bleeding. We still have some bleeding going from the pink to the yellow. It happens. That's just how it goes sometimes. So this is just life, and this is normal. So I'm already much more happy. So the more resistance you have, the more control you will have for this. So that's why I increased the water level here compared to there, because we would have more, like, it's going to play a little bit less in each other's lane. So we will do the cook this for 30 minutes, and then we're going to flip to do the speckling on the other side. So I'll just turn this a little down because we don't want to go above the 85 to 95 Celsius because it can compromise the integrity of the earth. So I will see you in 30 minutes. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes, actually a little bit more than 30 minutes even, but it's time to flip those skeins. And like this one will already be a disaster, so I'm just going to focus on this one first. So we're just going to turn the. Hey, where are you going? Stop being so annoying. Okay, so we're just going to turn these skeins. So you can see that there was a little bit of transfer of the pink underneath, which is totally fine. We will survive. Don't worry about that. Okay, so we're going to finish this. There, voila. So this already better than this. Okay, now that I'm mentally prepared-ish, I'm just going to quickly show you how much we still have of the color here. It is unbelievable how much pigment we still have. Oh, I turned this too low. Okay. Come on, here we go. 3. Okay. So, we're good. So this is going to be a disaster. I know it because of all the pigment there is left in the water. But it's okay. We're still carrying on. Oh, this is way too much pigment. Okay. Well, this is why we experiment. And when we do, we try to experiment with not too many skeins. So I never see it experimenting as wasting because you can always overdye with black and you'll be fine. Okay, so it's okay. I'm going to grab my respirator real quick so we can do the speckling. And as a friendly reminder, we only have one pair of lungs, so please protect them. Sorry. Okay, let's do this, friends. We're going to start with the turquoise, and we don't want too much of it. Just a tiny, gentle spread of the color, like that. And we're not going to be adding more of the color on. Oh, shrimp. See, this is what happens when you open your fingers by accident. Oh, those skeins are slightly disastrous, but it's fine. We're going to survive. Everything is okay. Oh, it's okay. We'll survive. As I say to myself, just, oh, this is saturated with water. I'm going to do that. And this has been done. And now for the yellow, I really don't want a whole lot of yellow, so I grab a tiny amount of yellow. There we go. See? We're good. We're good. We're doing fine. Everything is fine. Okay. Let's wet our fingers on this. Okay. And now, last but not least, we're doing our pink. And we don't want just a tiny, because the pink spreads a lot, just like the blue does. So we don't want to incorporate too much of the speckles. over here. Okay, so we are good for the speckling. We're going to do another 30 minutes of cook time. And we're gonna come back in 30 minutes to see what's up with the skeins. You know, I'm kind of like, this is growing on me. It's not the vision I had, but it's kind of growing. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. When it's fully cooked and it has fully dried, I'll be able to say if I like it or not. But it's kind of growing on me. Not gonna lie. I guess it's just the more you look at something, the more you like it. I don't know. Okay, see you later. So it has been 30 minutes. And it seems that we are good. We still have some blue. I was expecting it just because there's so much pigment in here. But we can turn off the heat on both. And we're going to let this completely cool off and then wash off any excess dye once it has completely cooled off. So I will see you later. Let's wash off the excess dyes now. We're going to start with the color that was stressing me out a little less than the other one, because this one was a little bit more cooperative and the vision was visioning here. Okay, so what we're going to do, because we need to ensure that we don't have any excess dye on here, and often when you're speckling on the zip ties, you will end up with dry powder. So we want to ensure that we don't have any dry powder on there. So we're going to let this soak for like 10 minutes and we're going to come back, see if we have any bleeding. I'm hoping not, because we had a better control of the color here. So let's hope for the best. See you in 10 minutes. And we don't have any leaking. I'm going to put this in the spin dryer. I will be taking over my cursed skeins that honestly I'm kind of liking ish. We seem to have a tiny bit of color, of pink color in there, which I was expecting, because it is what it is. So I can already see some true turquoise leaking into the water. So we're going to, oh, and see, I have blue on my hands from the zip ties themselves. So that's fun. I was so proud because I had gloves all along and we were doing so good. We're no good anymore. Okay, so we're going to let this soak for like 10-15 minutes and we're going to come back. Okay, let's see how much bleeding we have. Oof, this looks intense. Where's the other zip tie? Where are you? You are here. Okay, perfect. Oh, this is dark. Oh gosh, there's so much. There's so much blue. That's going to be a tough one. Oh gosh. I don't know if you can see here, but it's already turning blue. Okay. That is intense. In here I thought that frozen was a difficult blue to work with. True turquoise isn't better. Oh goodness. Oh yeah. The white will turn blue. We're going to lose all the white from those skeins of yarn. No. Okay.
It seems that we're starting to get some of the excess dye out of it. Maybe not. Maybe this is just wishful thinking. Good thing I didn't mix those two pans together. Oh gosh. That's intense. I will reach a point, I'm sure, that I'll be like, screw that, and just not try to remove anymore. But it is not currently that time. I'm not going to call it quit just yet. Okay. I'm going to try to separate the section where we have the most white from the, the blue section. Just because. Okay. Okay, well, at least it seems that we're getting somewhere. I'll hope we're not lost. Okay, I'm going to let this soak like 10 minutes and we're gonna come back. Okay. Okay, that's actually good. We are good to go. Those cursed hank of yarn can go in the spin dryer, and then we're going to let those dry overnight, and I will see you tomorrow for the final results.
And here's the final result for our pre-planned pooling yarn effect. So you can see those two results are extremely different. You can see that because of the blue that we had, there's a bunch of transfer that happened in the white section where this didn't happen as much on this side. Here, the main reason we've got so much pink is because I put a little too much on the speckling, but you can see that we still have really good speckling effect, which is what I wanted for that portion of the skein. Is it perfect? Not 100%. What we could have done different is have this section and that section in two different pans. So if I were to redo the experiment, I would probably try to do that to see if I can achieve better result and have a little bit more control over the speckling side. Also, it would probably help a little bit for like the rainbow section, but we did end up with a pretty decent rainbow here. So that's pretty cool. Here it looks much more muddier. So if you're going to try to do something like that, I 100% will recommend that you separate, like that you have much more, like for this one, natural resistance. So use a smaller pan than what you would normally use and put more skein in them so that you will have a better control of the dyes in general. So I could probably use like liquid dyes, so stock solutions, with the smaller pans, but I felt that I had so much more control over what I was doing and where I was applying the dye with the dry powders. So the main problem-ish, it's not really a problem, it's just that repeatability wise it might be a little harder for you to repeat those colors over time. Oh, hi Zoe. She actually loved this, apparently. So this is just at the repeatability level that you might have a little more trouble if you're going with the dry powder directly, and it's just because if you spend a lot of time in between batches of dyeing those colors, you might forget, because it all boils down to muscle memory at the end of it. Can you not make a mess, please? Stop licking. No, don't eat it. This is our yarn mop that we did. It's funny, right? Anyways, so yeah, so it's really down to that muscle memory when it comes to dry powder and speckling and all of that. So this is the only concern I would have if this is the technique you want to go with. But other than that, it's not too bad, and it's easy to take a video and kind of try to reproduce the result. So there's also that. So if you liked the video, please consider sharing, liking, and subscribing, and I will see you in the next one very soon. Bye!